seniors, families, and every single American who relies on SNAP benefits. This is an urgent alert you cannot afford to miss. What if I told you that as early as September 2025, your EBT card could suddenly stop working, not because of a system glitch, not because you did something wrong, but because of a brand new government rule that quietly slipped into effect? Imagine walking into your grocery store, swiping your EBT card for your weekly groceries, only to see the screen flash, "Transaction declined." The cashier looks at you, people behind you start whispering, and you're left wondering what happened to the food money you depend on. This isn't just a nightmare scenario, it's a real possibility under the new SNAP enforcement rules rolling out nationwide. For months now, we've been tracking reports from state agencies and federal officials about tighter controls coming to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. The government is calling it a necessary step to crack down on fraud and misuse. But let's be clear, the crackdown doesn't just hit scammers. It could also hurt regular families who follow the rules but make one simple mistake. And the worst part, most people still have no idea what's about to happen. Let's start with what's changing. Beginning September 2025, states will begin enforcing stricter verification checks every time an EBT card is used. That means the system will immediately cross-check the cardholder's identity, their current address, and even their eligibility status in real time. If anything doesn't match up, even something small like a typo in your file or an address that wasn't updated after you moved, your card could be automatically blocked until the issue is fixed. Now, officials are saying this is all about integrity of the program. But for families living paycheck to paycheck, this kind of sudden disruption can feel like a punishment. Take the story of Angela, a single mother from Ohio. She relies on about $620 a month in SNAP to feed her 3 kids. In late July, she went shopping and found her EBT card wouldn't work. After 3 days of phone calls, she learned that her benefits had been frozen because her mailing address didn't match the state's database. Angela had moved across town a month earlier and thought she'd updated her information online, but the system hadn't processed it. That tiny gap was enough to cut her off. She told me, "It wasn't fraud, it was paperwork, but my kids still had to go without until they fixed it." Her story is not unique, and under this new rule, situations like hers could multiply. The government insists these new measures are necessary. Officials argue that SNAP fraud, while not the majority of cases, still costs taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars every year. They point to examples like people selling their benefits for cash, double-dipping in multiple states, or using fake identities. And yes, those cases exist. But here's the other side of the coin. For every fraud case stopped, there could be down scenes of honest families caught in the dragnet. People who simply forgot to recertify on time, who missed a letter in the mail, or who didn't know that small errors could now trigger an automatic block. So, what exactly does this mean for you if you're a SNAP recipient? First, it means you need to make sure every piece of your information is up to date before September hits. That includes your mailing address, your income records, your family size, and even your phone number. Under the new rule, the system won't just flag errors, it will stop your benefits cold until they're fixed. No warnings, no grace period, just a block. That's why advocates are calling this one of the most aggressive enforcement measures SNAP has ever rolled out. Now, let's talk about why September 2025 specifically matters. This is when the USDA and state agencies officially launched Phase 1 of what they call the Real-Time Eligibility Enforcement Program. Think of it like a constant background check every time you use your card. Instead of just checking eligibility once or twice a year, the system will keep monitoring in real time. Advocates fear this will lead to widespread delays, backlogs in customer service, and thousands of families suddenly finding themselves cut off. And the warnings are already showing. In states like Texas and Florida, pilot programs revealed just how disruptive this can be. During one trial, nearly 11% of households had their benefits frozen temporarily due to data mismatches. Most of those cases weren't fraud at all, they were clerical errors or missed updates. One grandmother in Texas, raising her 2 grandchildren, lost access to her card for nearly 2 weeks because her grandkids' school records hadn't updated her guardianship status fast enough. These are real families facing real hunger, not criminals gaming the system. But here's what makes this even more concerning. The new rule comes with automatic penalties. If your card gets blocked and you don't fix the problem quickly, your case can be flagged for a fraud investigation even if it was just an innocent mistake. That means your name could be entered into databases that take months to clear. In some cases, people have even been disqualified for an entire year over misunderstandings. That's why legal aid groups are already bracing for a surge in calls this fall. Now let's break down how this could affect you personally. If you're someone who moves frequently, you're at higher risk. The system is particularly sensitive to address mismatches. So if you haven't updated your state office after a move, you could be in trouble. If you're someone with multiple sources of income, maybe part-time jobs or gig work, the system could misinterpret your income levels if your employers don't report on time. Even married couples or households with children could run into issues if their information doesn't align perfectly across different databases. And here's a chilling thought: the government knows these errors will happen. In fact, their own reports estimate that millions of households could face temporary disruptions, but they argue that the long-term savings justify the short-term pain for families. Though short-term pain means empty pantries, skipped meals, and children going to bed hungry. That's why community groups are calling this rollout not just a technical change, but a humanitarian crisis in the making. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? First, log into your state SNAP portal and double-check all your information. Make sure your address, income, household size, and phone number are all correct. Second, call your caseworker and confirm that your file is fully updated before September. Don't wait until your card is blocked. By then it will be delayed. Third, keep documentation handy: pay stubs, lease agreements, guardianship papers, anything that proves your eligibility. If your card does get blocked, having this paperwork ready will help you restore benefits faster. Remember, knowledge is power. The worst position to be in is walking blindly into these new rules. That's why we're sounding this alarm now, weeks before the changes hit. Too many families learn it the hard way during pilot programs, and I don't want you to be one of them. But let's also look at the bigger picture. Why is the government pushing this so aggressively now? Some point to rising food costs and ballooning SNAP budgets, arguing the government is desperate to tighten the purse strings. Others say it's political, with elections coming up. Leaders want to look tough on fraud. Whatever the reason, the impact will be felt most by those who can least afford it. The irony is that fraudsters often find ways around the system, while struggling families are the ones most punished. And here's something most people don't know. Once your case is flagged, even if it's cleared later, it can leave a digital footprint that makes future approvals harder. That means one small mistake this fall could haunt you for years to come. It's like a stain on your record that keeps resurfacing. That's why advocacy groups are urging Congress to slow down this rollout. But so far, their calls are being ignored. So, what should you take away from this? The new rule is real. It's happening in September 2025, and it could affect millions. Your best defense is preparation. Update your information now. Stay alert for any letters or emails from your SNAP office. And don't ignore even small requests for verification. If your card does get blocked, act quickly, call your office, submit documents, and push for resolution. At the end of the day, SNAP was designed to be a lifeline, not a trap. But with these new rules, the line between the two is becoming dangerously thin. Don't wait until you're standing in the checkout line with declined groceries. Take action now. Protect your benefits, and make sure your family doesn't become another statistic in the government's crackdown. This story is still unfolding, and we'll continue to follow it closely. More updates are expected in the weeks ahead, especially as states finalize how they'll enforce the new rule. I'll be here to break down every detail and give you the tools to navigate these changes. So, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share this with anyone you know who relies on SNAP. Because in the weeks ahead, the difference between keeping your benefits and losing them could come down to information like this. Stay alert, stay informed, and above all, stay prepared.